Okay, this is number 3. We're going to highlight the information as we read it. So a car company produces 2 types of 4x4s. Type A is a sports vehicle and requires 30 man-hours to produce. Type B is an off-road vehicle and needs 45 man-hours to produce. Type A requires 3 hours for painting, while Type B needs 8 hours for painting. The car company has a maximum of 1,800 man-hours and 240 hours for painting available per week. The company cannot produce more than 40 Type A vehicles and not less than 10 Type B vehicles. All right, so part A, write the constraints of the above information if a Type A 4x4 is X. So we're going to say Type A is X and Type B is Y. All right, so let's just start from the very beginning, and then from the very beginning they talk about man-hours. So it takes 30 man-hours to produce Type A right here. So I know 30 man-hours for Type A, and Type A is X and Type B is Y. So 30 times X. And for Type B, it takes 45 man-hours to produce. So 45 times Y, because Y stands for Type B. And then do we know how many man-hours? Because we're talking about man-hours. A maximum of 1,800 man-hours. Okay, so maximum means it has to be less than or equal to 1,800. Okay. Let's see, what's our next thing they're talking about? They're talking about painting. All right, so 3 hours for Type A to paint. So Type A is 3 times X. Type B needs 8 hours, so 8 times Y. Let's find our other information that talks about painting. Has a maximum of 240 hours for painting, so it has to be less than or equal to 240. And I just noticed, I don't know why, but I put this extra little equal sign in there. There you go. Okay. So we talk about man hours, and the company cannot produce more than 40 Type A vehicles. So Type A was X, so X has to be less than or equal to 40, and not less than 10 Type B vehicles. So Y has to be greater than or equal to 10. So those are our constraints for number 3. Okay, so I'm going to take those constraints and rewrite them for part B. So I have 45y plus 30x is less than or equal to 800. 3x plus 8y is less than or equal to 240. X is less than or equal to 40. And y is greater than or equal to 10. Okay, so before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead and solve for y on everything. That way I'm going to know what I need to go by. So the first thing I'm going to do on this one, I'm just going to subtract 30x. So I have 45y is less than or equal to negative 30x plus 1800. Divide by 45. And I get y is less than or equal to. Okay, and I may just go ahead and leave this as that. I know that will simplify, but whenever I graph it, it may be easier to say 30 over 45. And then this is going to be 1800 divided by 45, which is 40. And then over here, I'm going to do the same thing, solve for y. Excuse me, subtract 3x. Y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 240. And then divide by 8. Okay, one. Okay, so I have y is less than or equal to negative 3x over 8 plus 240 divided by 8 is going to be 30. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and when I label my x's, I'm going to go by tens again. 10, 20, but I'm skipping one each time. However you want to do yours, it's fine. 70, 80, same thing over here. 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. All right, so let's graph this one first. Y is less than or equal to negative 30, x over 45 plus 40. So my y-intercept is 40. My slope is negative 30 over 45. So you see now why I kind of left it? So that's negative 30. Here's 10, 20, 30. To the right, 45. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect those. And I'm shading below that line. So right now I have this region right here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's do this one right here. Y is less than or equal to negative 3x over 8 plus 30. Okay, we'll do this one and let's do it in yellow. So 30 is my y-intercept. Okay, negative 3 over 8. Now that's really hard for me to graph. I have negative 3 over 8. If I multiply both of those by 10, you see I have negative 30 over 80, which is negative 3/8, but it's easier for me to graph. So I'm going to go down 30 to the right 80. So I'm way over here. So there's this line. Okay, and again, I missed my line. And this is less than, so I need to shade below this line. So right now, that's my area that is overlapping. Okay, I have x is less than or equal to 40. That's going to be a vertical line at 40. It's less than, so I'm going to shade to the left of this line. So far, do you see that to the left of this, my shaded region that they all have in common would be this area? And then I have y is greater than or equal to 10. So that's going to be a horizontal line at 10. And this is going to be greater than, so I need to shade above this. So right now, here's my shaded region. So I'm going to outline it in black. It goes from here to here. Okay. From here to here. Okay. I'll give you a second to put that down. Okay, so and it's kind of hard to tell, but I actually have this line. It kind of, I know it's hard to tell, but I actually have this point right here too. So I have a point right here, right here. Now, since this is to the left of these points right here, 0, 10, and 0, 30, these actually are not included because this shaded region could keep on going, okay? But since we're talking about things being produced, I just stopped right there, but we're not going to check those points. Okay, so my points for my vertices, I know this is a point right here. That's going to be what, 40, 10. Let's see, what else? I have the point, they intersect again somewhere up here. It's kind of hard to tell on yours. Okay, they have written down 34, 17 is another point. And then this point right here, which is the point 40, 13. And I know that's really hard to tell. Okay, that's why I went ahead and gave you what those points are. All right, so let's look at the next one. If the company makes a profit of $14,000 on type A and $21,000 on type B, determine the profit equation and then the maximum profit the company can make per week. So profit equals 14,000 times X plus 21,000 times y. Then we're going to write down those ordered pairs that we had, okay, which were 40, 10, 40, 13, and 30, what was it, 34, 17. Okay, so let's try each one. First one I'm going to try is 40, 10. So profit equals 14,000 times 40 plus 21,000 times 10. So that's going to be 14,000 times 40 is going to be, wow, 560,000 plus, that's going to be 210,000. So those two added together is going to give me 770,000. Okay. Now let's do point 4013. So P equals 14,000 times 40 plus 21,000 times 13. So 14,000 times 40, that's going to give me 560,000 plus 21,000 times 13, that's going to give me 273,000 equals 273 plus 560, that's going to give me 500, that's not right, plus 273, 833,000. We have one more point, the point 3417. So profit equals 14,000 times 34 plus 21,000 times 17. Okay, so 14,000 times 34 is going to be 460,000 plus 21,000 times 17. That's going to give me 357,000. And when I add those together, I get the same thing, $833,000. So my maximum profit is $833,000, and they're going to get that by either making 40 of type A and 13 of type B, or 34 of type A and 17 of type B. Okay?